This girl stands at the edge of a tall building. She apologizes to her father, saying she can't endure it anymore, and then falls like a bird without wings. Later, the news reveals that she was a victim of severe school bullying. Unable to take it any longer, she ended her own life. The bullies put a leash around her neck and forced her to walk like a dog. They even made her eat burnt cigarettes, smeared lipstick all over her body, and sometimes recorded everything they did. Her father, Mr. Lee, turned out to be one of the country's most influential men and the chairman of a powerful corporation. He appeared before the media and publicly forgave the students who bullied his daughter, leaving everyone stunned. People believed he was devastated but had somehow chosen not to punish the offenders. His statement sparked massive outrage. People questioned his decision and even doubted whether he was a real father. Across social media, criticism poured in, with some claiming he couldn't possibly be her biological father if he could forgive the bullies so easily. In reality, Mr. Lee was completely shattered after losing his only daughter. He had no intention of sending the bullies to juvenile detention. The truth was, if they were locked away there, he would never get the revenge he wanted. He could never truly forgive them, and showing mercy would only mean they would eventually walk free after serving a light sentence. He regretted never teaching his daughter to be less kind and more honest about her suffering. She became a target after protecting another girl from bullies, and now he blamed himself for not teaching her to put herself first. Just then, his assistant brought the child Mr. Lee had mentioned earlier. He asked the girl if she was completely certain about her decision. The girl was Karma, who had now become his stepdaughter. She thanked him for giving her a place to live. Mr. Lee told Karma to get ready for school, leaving the assistant completely shocked. He protested, saying someone like Karma should never be sent to school. While Karma was excited about the idea, the assistant strongly disagreed. Ignoring his concerns, the chairman ordered him to make all the necessary arrangements. Mr. Lee told Karma to prepare for school and suggested she try making some friends. Karma bluntly replied that he should stop beating around the bush because he actually meant playthings, not friends, catching Mr. Lee off guard. The next day, in late May of the following year, at the main school, a girl forced another student to drink expired milk. She grabbed a pair of scissors, cut the girl's hair, threw it into the milk, and demanded that she drink it. The milk even contained dead flies, making it completely disgusting. Even so, the bullies threatened to cut off more of her hair if she refused. Everyone watched in shock, but not a single person stepped in. The girl leading the bullying was the same one responsible for Mr. Lee's daughter's death, yet she had escaped punishment. Her name was Sun, the main perpetrator. Although she had been charged with aggravated assault, she avoided punishment because of the commotion surrounding the case. The class president, who had been sitting quietly at the front, finally lost patience and stood up in anger to stop them. But just then, the classroom door opened, and everyone immediately calmed down as the teacher entered. The bullies warned the victim that if she told the teacher anything, they would spread her photos everywhere and continue tormenting her. The teacher introduced Karma to the class, explaining that she had transferred from a neighboring country. Karma calmly introduced herself to everyone. At the same time, the chairman's assistants once again urged Mr. Lee to reconsider sending Karma to school. They suggested returning her to juvenile detention because of how dangerous her past was. They warned that if she caused trouble, no one would be able to stop her, and since she was his stepdaughter, Mr. Lee would also face serious consequences. Mr. Lee answered that he hadn't adopted a daughter. He had bought a hunting dog. That single sentence silenced the assistant. The truth was that Karma had been discovered alone near a river in 2018 at the age of 13. Investigations revealed that biological experiments conducted by the neighboring country had damaged her frontal lobe. Expert evaluations diagnosed her as a psychopath, with special notes stating that she was incapable of feeling pain or shame. Authorities also found bloodstains on her clothes connected to 13 different murder cases. She was later sent to a juvenile detention and rehabilitation center, but her violent nature never changed. She brutally beat almost every child and juvenile offender there. Because of her superhuman physical abilities, she was eventually transferred to a juvenile protection review board. Now, she was out on probation only because Mr. Lee had personally requested it through the Ministry of Justice. Meanwhile, back at school, Sun looked at Karma and smiled, believing she had finally found an entertaining new toy. At the exact same moment, Karma was thinking the very same thing. During lunch break, everyone gathers around Karma. Even boys from other schools come just to see her because she's beautiful and from a neighboring country. They bombard her with questions about where she's from and what she's like. Karma responds with perfect manners, politely introducing herself again and again, telling everyone her name and where she came from. Meanwhile, the girl who had been getting bullied notices all the attention Karma is receiving. She watches everyone laughing around her and can't help feeling jealous that Karma became so popular on her very first day. Just then, Sun walks over with her two friends. The girl sitting beside Karma immediately becomes frightened. Sun introduces herself and invites Karma to become close friends and join her group. The girl next to Karma is stunned, realizing Sun is already trying to target the new transfer student. Karma instantly recognizes Sung because before transferring, Mr. Lee and his assistant had already briefed her that Sung would be her very first target. Karma had simply commented that Sung looked incredibly nasty. They explained that Sung was one of the students who constantly bullied Mr. Lee's daughter. According to his daughter's diary, Sung often kicked her around the apartment complex. One important detail stood out: Sung was the one who came up with the dog leash bullying. Although her level of abuse was considered the lowest among the perpetrators, she willingly took part in everything. She was now attending a high school in the same city. They had also predicted that, judging by her personality, Sung would most likely approach Karma first after her transfer. Karma told them not to worry if Sung came to her. She would simply cover herself with bruises and cuts. But Mr. Lee told her that the most important thing was that if Sung approached her, she had to accept and become her friend. Back in the present, Karma agrees to be Sung's friend, leaving Sung pleasantly surprised that she accepted the invitation to join their group. Sung immediately hugs her. A moment later, Sun looks at the girl sitting beside Karma and orders her to introduce herself to Olivia. Olivia freezes in fear. Sun then suggests that, since they're seatmates, they should get closer by playing a little game. She tells her two friends to pull a plastic bag over Olivia's head. They obey without hesitation, and Olivia immediately struggles to breathe while Sung enjoys every second of it. When Karma asks why they're doing this, Sun casually explains that Olivia stupidly bumped into her desk and made her phone fall. With the plastic bag still covering Olivia's face, they force her to walk around the classroom with her eyes closed, saying that if she bumps into a desk, they'll reward her with expired milk to cheer her up. Olivia has no choice but to obey. As she carefully walks through the classroom, Sun suddenly shoves her forward, causing her to accidentally hit a desk. Without hesitation, Sung kicks her hard in the back, sending her crashing onto another desk. She kicks her again and orders her to crawl. Olivia breaks down in tears while the rest of the class, including the class president, can only watch from a distance. The class president is furious at Sung's behavior, but before anyone can react, Sung asks Karma to join in. She even suggests that during lunch they should cover Olivia with a bag and throw her into the boys' bathroom. That suggestion finally pushes the class president to stand up and stop them. But before anyone else can move, Karma stops Sung herself, shocking even the class president. Meanwhile, Olivia continues crying helplessly inside the plastic bag. Karma calmly tells Sung that she shouldn't do this and apologizes to Olivia instead. Sung is left speechless for a brief moment, but her surprise quickly turns into anger. She shoves Olivia aside and all three girls surround Karma. Sung warns Karma that she should have realized by now that she's the queen of this school. She tells her to either fit in or get lost unless she's ready to fight. Karma calmly replies that if Sung continues acting like this, she'll simply call the teacher. Sung and her friends burst into laughter, saying they couldn't care less about what the teacher might do. Without warning, Sung drives a kick straight into Karma's stomach. At that moment, Karma remembers the promise she made to Mr. Lee, that no matter what happened, she must never throw the first punch. It was all part of their plan. They wanted Karma to become the innocent victim at school so they could slowly carry out their revenge. She had to endure Sung's violence and wait for at least 1 full week. Karma silently wonders if she'll really be able to keep holding herself back. Mr. Lee had told her that as long as she took the first hit, she could do whatever she wanted afterward. And now, after receiving that very first blow, the violence truly begins right in front of everyone's eyes. The teachers enter the classroom and tell all the girls to step outside because gym class is about to begin and everyone needs to change into their sports uniforms. At that moment, Karma remembers one final instruction from Mr. Lee. No matter what happened, she had to endure the bullying for at least 1 full week or he would never forgive her. Taking the abuse wasn't difficult because she couldn't feel pain, but Sung's behavior still irritated her. Before leaving, Sung smirks and tells Karma that their little circus will continue during the next break. Later, Sung heads to the back of the school to smoke with her friends. They laugh together while sitting on top of Olivia, forcing her to eat burning cigarette butts from the ground without letting her touch the floor. Sung orders Olivia to finish eating them before the break ends or she'll make her eat every single one. Her friends only laugh harder as Olivia suffers. Suddenly, they hear someone's footsteps approaching and immediately panic. But once the person comes into view, Sung relaxes after realizing it's only the class president and not a teacher. The class president tells them to stop what they're doing. Seeing her arrive, Olivia briefly hopes someone has finally come to save her, but she quickly crushes that hope, believing the class president could become another victim herself. Instead, the class president casually takes a cigarette from Sung and starts smoking it. Olivia is left stunned. Then the class president removes her glasses, revealing her true nature. She tells the girls it's already been a year since they drove a student to her death. The class president's real name is Moon. She's 16 years old and predator number B. She was also charged with aggravated assault in Mr. Lee's daughter's case. Olivia is horrified, unable to understand why the class president is standing together with Sung's group. Moon tells Sung and her friends that rumors about them bullying Olivia have started spreading to other classes. When they ask who's spreading those rumors, Moon suddenly loses her temper and warns that she'll cut out their tongues if they speak again because she only follows orders. The girls instantly fall silent. Trying to ease the tension, Sung tells Moon to calm down. Moon coldly reminds them that they're in high school now and that she's planning to go to college. She refuses to be a brainless idiot like them and orders them not to drag her into their stupidity. Sung secretly can't stand Moon. She constantly lectures them, barely acknowledges their existence, and acts like she's above everyone just because they've entered high school. In Sung's eyes, all three of them are treated like complete idiots. Ever since middle school, Moon pretended to be the perfect class leader while staying in the background, making Sung and the others handle all the dirty work and become the obvious villains. But whenever nobody else was around, Moon was even crueler than Sung herself. That's exactly why Sung finds her even more disgusting than herself and genuinely hates her. Suddenly, Moon asks Sung why she's staring at her like that. Sung immediately apologizes, quickly looks away, and insists she wasn't staring at all. Moon tells them to do whatever they want before walking away. Even after she leaves, Sung remains irritated because of her. Moon then walks over to Olivia and says it must have been incredibly difficult for her to endure everything. But instead of helping, she quietly threatens Olivia. If she tells anyone about her, she'll make her life a living hell and might even kill her. Then Moon steps directly onto Olivia's hand. Olivia immediately screams in pain, crying and begging Moon to lift her foot. She swears she'll never cause any trouble and promises she won't report Moon to the school committee. Moon finally removes her foot, causing both Olivia and Sung to lose their balance and fall to the ground. Annoyed by the situation, Sung kicks Olivia right in the face. Watching Sung behave like that only makes Moon laugh, irritating Sung even more. Moon tells them to stop fooling around and get back to class. After putting her glasses back on, she returns to gym class. As soon as Moon walks away, Sung secretly shows her the middle finger, but Moon suddenly stops walking. Sung freezes in fear. Without even turning around, Moon tells Sung to beat up the new transfer student Karma because her overconfident attitude annoys her. Meanwhile, during gym class, Karma tells the teacher she doesn't have gym clothes, so she'll play soccer wearing her school uniform instead. The teacher agrees. The other girls quietly admire Karma without realizing that Sung is sitting behind them, listening to every word. After hearing them praise Karma, Sung decides she's grown tired of Olivia and starts thinking about turning Karma into her next dog instead. At the same time, Karma kicks the soccer ball with unbelievable force, leaving everyone speechless, the goalkeeper, President Moon, and every girl watching. Then she fires another kick just as powerful, shocking everyone all over again. On her third attempt, she deliberately aims for the goalpost. The ball ricochets straight towards Sung and one of her friends. Her friend immediately gets annoyed and yells at Karma, but the moment she sees Karma's expression, she becomes frightened and tries convincing Sung not to mess with her. That only makes Sung even angrier. She becomes convinced that Karma is openly challenging her. The moment gym class ends, Sung storms into the classroom and starts provoking Karma. She angrily accuses her of deliberately aiming the ball at them. Karma calmly admits it, saying she imagined the ball was Sung's head. Sung immediately tells her to kick it again. Karma casually replies that she can't because Sung's head isn't lying on the ground. That answer infuriates Sung even more. Karma then asks if Sung is actually scared, which is why she always brings her friends along. Completely enraged, Sung charges forward and swings her hand, trying to slap Karma. But before the slap can land, Karma's fist crashes straight into Sung's face. For the very first time in her life, Sung gets punched directly in the face and drops to the floor instantly. Her two friends are left speechless. Even President Moon is shocked. Looking down at her, Karma calmly says that Sung herself had just given her a perfectly good reason to hit her. Sung struggles to stand, but the punch is so powerful that she collapses back onto the floor. Panicking, she desperately asks Karma for a timeout. Karma simply looks at her and says, "Your face looks just like a ball to me." Karma steps on Sung's face and coldly tells her that she won't hesitate anymore. Now, she's finally going to kick her head exactly the way she wanted to. Meanwhile, one of Sung's friends grabs a chair and charges at Karma, trying to attack her. Karma effortlessly dodges the swing, causing the girl to trip over her own feet and crash onto the floor. Karma laughs at her, mocking how pathetic she looks. Then she grabs the girl by her hair, pulls her up, and asks if she'd like her wish to die granted first. Everyone watching is left completely stunned by Karma's actions. Without wasting another second, Karma twists the girl's own hair around her wrists, tying her hands behind her back. Then she drags her all the way to the front desk and smashes her face into it. Once, then again, the entire classroom falls silent in shock while the third girl is completely terrified by what she's witnessing. Even the class president watches everything unfold. Instead of stepping in, she quietly calms herself and leaves to call a teacher. Meanwhile, the girl desperately screams for someone to save her, but not a single classmate moves. Now Karma turns her attention to the princess. The girl immediately panics, insisting she had nothing to do with any of this. She tries to run away but trips over a desk. As she falls, she notices a box cutter lying beside a pencil case. She instantly grabs it and warns Karma that she'll cut her if she comes any closer. Karma simply tells her to do whatever she wants. The moment Karma takes a single step forward, the terrified girl completely loses control and lunges at her with the cutter. Karma calmly dodges every single attack before slamming her straight onto the floor. The cutter slips from the girl's hand, and she's so stunned that she doesn't even understand what just happened. Karma grabs her by the hair and lifts her up. The girl starts screaming that she's going to die. Karma calmly replies that people don't die that easily and tells her to stop crying. Then she drives the girl's face straight into a locker with a kick. The second kick forces her face even deeper into the locker. At that moment, Karma silences the entire classroom. She tells everyone that she doesn't need anyone's sympathy. She's the real victim because they bullied her first. In fact, everyone there should be thanking her because they were all too weak to stand up against them. Just then, Karma notices Sung trying to escape. She immediately rushes toward the back door, only to realize it's already closed. Karma sprints after her and lands a powerful kick to Sung's back, sending both of them crashing into the hallway floor. Without giving her a chance to recover, Karma grabs Sun by the face and rains down punch after punch. Everyone is horrified by what they're seeing. Then Karma suddenly realizes Sung has already lost consciousness. Instead of stopping, she actually starts enjoying it. At that exact moment, the teacher and the class president rush in and finally stop her. Later, Mr. Lee's assistant bursts into his office and urgently reports that Karma failed to follow the plan of acting like a victim for an entire week. Mr. Lee stays silent for a moment, then he calmly says they can no longer afford to wait. What's already happened can't be changed. Now they need to focus on the present. He then asks for an update on the situation. Meanwhile, back at school, Karma slowly looks toward the class president and gives her a silent look that says only one thing: you're next. Later, inside the teacher's office, Sung's mother arrives at the school. Furious, she starts yelling at the teachers and everyone present over what Karma did to her daughter. She proudly announces that her husband is the president of a major corporation and is practically like a brother to the school principal. Then she orders the vice principal to immediately call Karma's parents. At that moment, Karma suddenly begins crying in front of Sung's mother. Everyone is confused and asks why she's crying. Karma quietly reveals the bruises covering her body and says that Sung was the one who did this to her. The teachers and staff are instantly shocked. Since they already know Sung has a long history of bullying students, they immediately believe Karma. But in reality, everything was part of Karma's plan. She had deliberately created those bruises on her own body beforehand so she could use them when the time came. For a brief moment, both Sung and her mother are left speechless. Even Sung's mother starts doubting her daughter, but she quickly regains herself and accuses Karma of lying. She points at the injured faces of the girls and argues that it's obvious Karma brutally assaulted all of them. Then she once again orders the vice principal to contact Karma's parents. The vice principal hands over the phone and Sung's mother personally speaks with Mr. Lee. She arrogantly demands that he come to the school immediately, kneel before her, and apologize. Mr. Lee refuses without the slightest hesitation. He calmly explains that he's an extremely busy man and won't be able to visit the school today regarding any compensation. Instead, he tells her he'll personally inform them of the date, time, and place. Then he hangs up. Everyone in the office is stunned. Sung's mother completely loses her temper. She glares at Karma and says her father is just as shameless as she is. Before leaving with her daughter, she warns Karma that they'll make her life miserable. As they walk away, Karma quietly smiles. She realizes she has nothing to worry about because her stepfather will handle everything himself. His original plan had simply been far too roundabout, which was exactly why she couldn't keep holding herself back. A little later, Sung storms into the classroom and immediately confronts Moon. She angrily demands to know why Moon took so long to call the teacher. Moon calmly replies that she's not some supercar. Sung immediately suspects that Moon intentionally delayed because she was afraid. She believes Moon didn't want Karma to discover that she was the one who brought the teachers, fearing she'd become Karma's next target. That accusation instantly irritates Moon. Without another word, she throws a book straight into Sung's face before driving a kick into her stomach, sending Sung flying into the corner of the classroom. Moon coldly warns her not to say another word unless she's prepared to face the consequences. Sung fires back, saying Moon must be just as insane as her own mother, who had only just left the school office. Moon simply replies that even better. She tells Sung to bring her mother over too, because she'll deal with her as well. Sung is completely stunned into silence. Moon then reminds her that she's been acting like some big boss lately because she's forgotten one simple fact. Without her family's influence, she's nothing more than a stray puppy that survives only because they're allowing it. He tells Sung to stop pretending she's in charge. Sung angrily shouts a few more words before leaving the classroom, unwilling to risk getting kicked again. Even after Sung leaves, Moon can't stop thinking about Karma. In the end, she decides the smartest choice is to simply observe her for now before making her next move. Meanwhile, later that day at home, Sung's older brother laughs the moment he sees the condition of her face. Embarrassed, Sung tells him to stop making fun of her. When he asks who did this, she shows him a picture of Karma. Instead of getting angry, he smiles. His name is Jinwoo. He's predator number C and was also involved in the school bullying case that led to Mr. Lee's daughter's death. The main charges against him were illegal filming and participating in group assaults. Sung becomes excited because she knows her brother is finally going to get revenge on her behalf. The very next day, while Karma is walking home from school, Jinwoo blocks her path. Sung and one of her friends are standing nearby, ready to record everything that happens. Jinwoo starts recording Karma while his friends move in, trying to tear off her clothes. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Mr. Lee's assistant explains something important to him. He says that in most situations, women are usually knocked out by male fighters. He gives the example of a female fighter who was a 4-time world champion and considered the strongest in her division, facing a male fighter who was only the champion of a no-name league in the same weight class. Even so, the male fighter won with ease, knocking her out in just 2 rounds. But Karma is different. When Mr. Lee asks how that's possible, the assistant explains that it's because of the adrenaline Karma can activate at will due to the psychological and biological experiments conducted by the neighboring country. Those experiments caused her body to respond to even the slightest threat with an overwhelming surge of adrenaline, giving her extraordinary physical strength. At that moment, Karma becomes comparable to a male heavyweight fighter. That's exactly why she's capable of taking down several men by herself. The moment she throws her first punch, everyone is stunned. Jinwoo immediately orders all of them to attack her together. The group rushes toward Karma at once, but instead of facing them head-on, she quickly creates distance and decides to defeat them one by one. She grabs the first attacker and smashes his face against a nearby railing. The second man charges in with a punch, but Karma effortlessly slips past it before driving her own fist straight into his face. The remaining attackers rush her together, but she avoids every single punch before knocking both of them unconscious. The last one receives a brutal kick directly to the face. Suddenly, one of the men manages to get back up and grabs Karma from behind so another attacker can land a punch. As the second man charges toward her, Karma dodges him at the last second and counters with a powerful kick. Then she deals with the one restraining her. She instantly grabs the screwdriver he was holding, causing him to lose consciousness. Catching his body with ease, she crushes him in her grip, leaving the remaining attacker completely horrified. Realizing he has no chance of winning, he turns around and runs for his life. Karma immediately chases after him. With one powerful kick, she sends him flying straight onto his bike. Watching everything unfold from a distance, Sung and her brother are left completely speechless in shock. Sung is instantly terrified by Karma's stare and immediately pushes her brother in front of her, expecting him to fight instead. But for the first time in his life, Jinwoo hesitates. He's actually afraid to fight a girl. However, the moment Karma mocks him for being a man who's scared of a girl, Jinwoo's pride takes over. He charges at Karma and throws punch after punch, but she effortlessly avoids every single one. After exchanging blows for a while, Jinwoo notices something. Karma's movements are starting to slow down. Her speed is dropping, which means her stamina is finally running out. Seeing the opportunity, he decides to end the fight with one final attack. But even then, Karma continues dodging every one of his powerful strikes. Suddenly, Karma appears to trip over something. Jinwoo instantly takes advantage of the opening and throws a punch straight at her. But in the blink of an eye, she disappears. Jinwoo is left completely stunned. In reality, this is Karma's third ability. She can instantly move to a nearby location. By generating incredible power through her legs, she moves so fast that it looks as if she has teleported without anyone noticing. Before Jinwoo can even react, Karma appears beside him and drives a punch straight into his face. The impact nearly knocks him unconscious. Watching their brother collapse, Sung and her friends burst into tears and desperately try to wake him up, shouting that he's a man and shouldn't lose to a girl. Instead of comforting them, Jinwoo snaps at Sung and tells her that if she's so eager to fight, then she should do it herself. Karma can't help laughing at the scene, openly mocking all of them. Humiliated, Jinwoo's anger explodes. He forces himself back onto his feet, charges at Karma once again, executes a spear tackle, and slams her onto the ground. Then, as he raises his fist, he aims a punch directly at her face. Karma instantly tackles Jinwoo and locks his arm in a brutal hold. As her grip keeps getting tighter, Jinwoo immediately taps out, begging her to stop because he already surrendered. But Karma isn't interested. She calmly says she wants to find out if he's actually strong, or so weak that his arm will snap. Then she squeezes even harder. Crack, his arm breaks. The second Sung and her friend witness it, they panic and run away. Jinwoo can't believe his own sister abandoned him, thinking Karma will finally leave after breaking his arm instead. She decides she's just getting started. Karma grabs one of his legs and snaps it without hesitation. Then she breaks his remaining limbs before stepping on his crotch, mocking him as he screams in pain. She even threatens to crush him completely, admitting that watching people cry is what makes her happy. Jinwoo desperately apologizes and begs for mercy. Karma doesn't care. She crushes one anyway. Meanwhile, Sung and her friends run as fast as they can, convinced they've escaped far enough that Karma could never catch them. One of the girls asks why Sung brought them to such an isolated place. Sung explains that whenever her brother and his gang wanted to harass girls, they always came to this empty walkway where nobody could see them. Only then do they realize she's right. The path is so open they can still see the boys lying on the ground behind them, but Karma is gone. Sung instantly screams for everyone to keep running. When they ask why, she tells them to stop talking and just run. Even after they're completely exhausted, the fear of Karma keeps their legs moving. Then, out of nowhere, Karma appears right in front of Sung and slams into her with an electric scooter, sending her flying onto the road. The other two girls freeze in shock and ask how she got there so fast. Karma casually reveals she simply took the scooter, rode around the street to cut them off, and because it was illegally modified to go way past the speed limit. It's time for all three of them to learn one more lesson. Suddenly, one of the girls panics and runs in the opposite direction. But Karma jumps onto the electric scooter, chases her down, grabs her by the hair, and throws her onto the road. A short while later, all three girls are kneeling in front of Karma. She asks what they were planning to do after setting her up. Then she demands Sung's phone. Sung hesitates for a second. So Karma immediately steps on her, making her scream until she hands it over. As Karma scrolls through the phone, she discovers countless private photos of girls from their class and other students. The pictures had been taken by force and used to blackmail them. After giving Sung a cold lecture, Karma suddenly smashes the phone on the ground. Then she announces that starting today, her dream is to become a photographer. Inspired by GU, she's going to take a few pictures right now. She gives them only two choices: take off their clothes and cooperate, or get knocked unconscious before being stripped. One of the girls instantly starts crying and begging for forgiveness. Karma answers with a kick straight to her face. The other two freeze in fear and immediately obey. Meanwhile, Mr. Lee's assistant waits outside his office, frustrated that everything has gone wrong. The original plan was for Karma to quietly endure the bullying for 2 or 3 weeks. Then, during summer break, the school violence committee would step in. The juvenile judge, already bribed by Mr. Lee, would sentence Sung and her brother to Type 3 punishment and send them to community service on a remote island. But that welfare facility was actually a fake. It had been secretly prepared so the Sung siblings would be cut off from the outside world and tortured by Karma for 200 hours. Now the assistant is furious because Karma ruined the entire plan. Just then, he sees her walking toward Mr. Lee's office while casually whistling and singing. He yells that she destroyed everything. Karma simply smiles and says it's all just a game to her. That only makes him angrier, but Karma calmly tells him to relax because she has an even better plan. Before he can respond, Mr. Lee calls Karma inside. The assistant warns her to behave. The moment Karma enters, 4 guards suddenly grab her and pin her to the floor. Confused, Karma asks Mr. Lee why. Mr. Lee coldly tells her that her new father is extremely disappointed in her. He takes a revolver from his assistant, reloads it, and points it directly at Karma. Then he reminds her that he already warned her he would never forgive anyone who ruined his plans, before asking if it's finally time for a proper father and daughter meeting. Mr. Lee tells Karma it's finally time for her to say goodbye. Before he can do anything, Karma asks for one last chance to speak. Then she bluntly tells him that both his plan and his assistant's plan are complete trash. Curious, Mr. Lee asks why. Karma reminds him of everything his daughter suffered because of Sung. She was forced to wear a dog leash and even dragged into the boys' restroom. Karma says she expected Mr. Lee to be the kind of father who would do absolutely anything to avenge his daughter. Instead, he looks weak and controlled. Mr. Lee points out that because of her brain damage and the experiments, she can't even feel shame. So how could she possibly understand humiliation? Karma calmly replies that she doesn't feel humiliated herself. What she enjoys is watching other people experience it. That's how she knows exactly what true humiliation looks like. Mr. Lee stays silent for a moment. Then he slowly lowers his revolver and orders everyone to leave the room. His assistant protests, but Mr. Lee repeats the order, leaving only himself and Karma inside. He warns her this is the last time she'll ever disobey him. There won't be another chance. Then he asks if she completed the task he gave her. Without a word, Karma hands him a USB drive. She reveals that she recorded every voice and every scream from the entire incident. As Karma walks out, Mr. Lee plugs the USB into the speakers. Soon, the room fills with the desperate screams and cries of pain from Sung and her brother. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Sung's brother is being treated when the doctor delivers devastating news. He may never be able to marry. Hearing that, their father explodes with rage and immediately calls his relatives, personal staff, and lawyers, ordering them to prepare for revenge. After the call, he asks Sung if Karma did anything else besides injuring her face. Still traumatized, Sung is about to confess that Karma took humiliating pictures of her, but then she remembers. Those photos are still stored on her own phone, so she lies and says she's fine. Just then, their father receives a call from Mr. Lee asking the family to meet him at his office the next day. When Sung's parents arrive at the building, they make a shocking discovery. Karma's father is Mr. Lee himself, the same man who once forgave Sung and her brother after what they did to his own daughter. Sung's father immediately realizes what's happening and accuses Mr. Lee of using all of this to get revenge. But Mr. Lee calmly replies that it was nothing more than a fight between children, and he's already forgiven everyone. Seeking revenge, he says, would be beneath him. Unconvinced, Sung's father threatens to expose him to the media for using a minor to carry out his personal revenge. Mr. Lee doesn't even respond to the accusation. Instead, he begins talking about compensation. Knowing Sung's father wants to expand his company into the Southeast Asian market, Mr. Lee offers the full support of his business group. The offer instantly leaves him speechless. Then Mr. Lee turns to Sung's mother. He knows she loves luxury shopping, so he offers her VIP membership with exclusive priority benefits at a prestigious luxury store. She immediately becomes interested. Next, Mr. Lee promises that his group's hospital, the country's leading cancer center, will provide the best treatment available for her parents who have a family history of cancer. He also promises to cover Jinwoo's remaining treatment, all of his fractured limbs, and any future medical expenses. As if that weren't enough, he places a bag filled with cash in front of them. Even after taxes, it contains $2 billion. On top of that, he offers them a luxury apartment worth billions. Then he calmly asks, "Is this enough compensation?" Sung's father suddenly bursts into laughter. In an instant, he throws away his pride and accepts every offer. Only Sung's mother hesitates, asking her husband to think about their children. He immediately shuts her down, saying he's already planned everything. After accepting the deal, Mr. Lee reveals there are two conditions. The first is absolute secrecy. Neither the agreement nor the bullying incident can ever be made public, since any controversy would damage his reputation. Sung's parents agree without hesitation. Then Mr. Lee reveals the second condition. He calls Karma into the room and announces that she will continue attending the same high school. He wants Sung to become Karma's close friend so she can adjust to her new life in the country. As he's close to the school's chairman, he asks Sung's parents to support the arrangement. Karma then politely apologizes. She promises to become Sung's friend and help improve her school record with positive achievements. Sung's mother quickly realizes this would repair her daughter's reputation and even strengthen her college applications. Karma also explains to Sung's father that if the girls stay close even after graduation, their family will naturally build a lasting relationship with Mr. Lee's business group. She bows respectfully and apologizes once again. Satisfied with everything they've gained, Sung's parents accept every condition and even ask Karma to take good care of their daughter. Meanwhile, completely unaware of what's happening, Sung lies in her hospital bed smiling. She's convinced Karma must be crying in front of her father by now, and that she'll soon be expelled from school, believing that in the end, she's the one who got the last laugh. Back in middle school, Sung humiliated Mr. Lee's daughter in the worst way possible. She forced her to wear a dog leash, made her crawl like a dog inside the boys' restroom, and when she refused, she forced her to bark. As if that wasn't enough, Sung also took photos and videos of the entire incident. Those memories still haunt Mr. Lee. He learned everything after reading his daughter's diary, where she wrote in detail about the bullying she endured. The next day at school, everyone is shocked to see Karma return to class. Sung immediately gets irritated, remembering that her father ordered her to get along with Karma because both families had already settled everything. From now on, they're supposed to become close friends. Meanwhile, Olivia is the only one genuinely happy to see Karma back. Karma walks over to Sung and her two friends, then announces in front of the entire class that they're all going to play a friendship role-playing game, and she'll be the owner. She reaches into her bag and pulls out a dog leash. Karma cheerfully explains they're going to play walking dog. One of the girls nervously asks if it's exactly what they're thinking. Karma confidently says, "No, of course not." Then pauses before realizing it actually is. The entire classroom falls silent. Even President Moon is left speechless. Karma starts assigning dog breeds. The cheerful girl becomes a beagle. The girl with the long face becomes a Doberman. And Sung gets the role of a Chihuahua. Furious, Sung throws the leash away and yells that she's not crazy enough to go along with Karma's game. She knows Karma is only pretending to be her friend. Karma suddenly starts fake crying, saying she only wanted to be friends and have fun together. Then she quietly sits down, scrolls through her phone, and says she'd never force a friend to do something against their will. Instead, she'll cheer herself up with another hobby. Curious, Sung asks what that hobby is. Karma smiles and says, posting lots of interesting photos on social media. The moment Sung hears that, she panics. She immediately starts begging Karma not to do it. Karma calmly asks why she'd stop if Sung doesn't even want to be her friend. Then she picks up the dog leash once again, looks straight at Sung, and asks if she's finally ready to play. Sung has no choice but to accept Karma's game. She silently picks up the leash and becomes Karma's dog. Karma leads her through the school hallways while forcing the other two girls to record everything. The students Sung used to bully burst into laughter the moment they see her. Furious, Sung starts yelling at them, but Karma gives the leash a sharp tug and reminds her that dogs don't talk, they bark. She also warns Sung's two friends that if they don't film properly, they'll be the ones wearing the leash tomorrow. Then Karma announces to everyone that Sung and the others are her friends, and they're doing all of this with each other's consent. As they keep walking, Karma casually mentions they'll probably reach the boys' classroom before break. The moment Sung hears that, she panics and starts begging Karma to stop. Karma refuses. She says a proper dog walk should be at least one full lap. Besides, it's not like she's dragging Sung into the boys' restroom, like someone else once did. Those words leave Sung completely stunned. She demands to know how Karma knows about that incident. Before she can say anything else, Karma kicks her and orders her to keep walking. When Sung resists, Karma drags her all the way toward the boys' classroom. As soon as they arrive, every boy in the classroom turns to watch. Seeing everyone stare at her, Sung breaks down in tears. Then a few boys step forward and ask Karma if they can borrow the leash and walk the dog themselves. Karma introduces them as students who were constantly bullied by Sung's older brother while Sung stood by and helped. Without hesitation, Karma hands one of them the leash. The moment Sung starts yelling at him, the boy laughs and asks Karma, "What kind of dog can talk?" Sung immediately notices Karma's cold expression and falls completely silent. Karma tells her to keep walking and endure it, joking that the line to walk a dog at school is getting too long. Then she starts charging 1,000 to anyone who wants a turn. Students immediately begin lining up, paying for multiple laps just to walk Sung after everything is over. Karma brings Sung back to class and stops in front of President Moon. She orders Sung to bark, and warns that if she doesn't bark properly, those photos will be shared everywhere. Terrified, Sung immediately starts barking without hesitation. President Moon tries to ignore the scene, but Sung keeps barking in front of President. But in anger, the president breaks the pencil and asks Karma what she wants. This is where the part 2 ends. If you want more recaps on Plaything, comment down and make sure to subscribe.